how does one go about finding and identifying that purpose? Like Tracy, she's saying that there's a
That's
lot
right.
to do, there's so much that can be done. How do we just focus on just one thing? How do we prevent ourselves? So, but my question is more of, well, then how do we look at our experiences? How do we look at what we've gone through, who we've become, what we've learned, and how do we turn that into our purpose? How do we practically identify our 15, 20, 30, 40 years on this earth to find that and to pull that out? Because again, passion is something that we enjoy. Purpose, you said a lot more about there and about really how it's meant to be used for other people, how our experiences are meant to be used for other people. But how do we identify that and turn it into something actionable?
It's a great question, and I'll try to be as succinct as I can, because there's a core to that. One thing I want to premise that with is, there are levels again of purpose, and I think, and just two sides of that is, on one hand, it's like what happens to us, our circumstances, and it's like, take any leader or any person, any artist, any creator, maybe they were in a situation. It's like the things that happen to us, like the mountains and valleys of life. On the other side of the valleys we climb out of, we find something, again, that lifts us up in a way we'd never expected. And the valleys we overcame and the mountains we climb can actually be a bridge over somebody else's valley. And that can be a purpose. It's like, you can see, it's just like, look at, like, say if you went through a deep trauma, whether, it was a death in the family, any trauma, really, trauma or trial or tribulation, usually that is the turning point. On the other side of trauma lies wisdom. And we find something that we actually have through our experience that can help somebody else that's to not deal with the suffering that we had to deal with. So there, a lot of people find their purpose through that. And, and I think looking at your life and where you feel suffering is an opportunity, but also looking at your life in where you find peace and where you find fulfillment. And maybe it's a song that brings it up, maybe it's a poem, but usually it's somebody else's expression, art, or just authentic sharing that makes you feel something, that something new is possible in the world. And it's like, and it's something resonates. It's not necessarily a shared value, it's a resonant value. Someone speaks about their experience, their struggle, and you feel something. It's like, I felt that too, or I feel that too. And you kind of connect to that, and you have and you kind of express and identify and connect through community, through overcoming that trial or that trauma. And on the other hand, there is what is a declared purpose, which is nothing to do with our circumstances. It is actually a commitment right here, right now, with our word and our integrity, and so that it's the difference between an assertion, which is the past, and a declaration, which is created in the future today. It's like it's creating a future to live into. And if I'm committed to anything, but if I'm committed to love, to peace, to abundance, to connection, to freedom, I say that to myself, and I say that to others. All the things that are not that will then present themselves. Right. And the thing is, it is a live and an unfolding experience. Today, my purpose might be freedom, and then tomorrow, my purpose might be structure. And it's not to say either or right or wrong or good or bad. It's literally a right now. Who am I committed to being, not with who I showed up as and just throw me into the world and this is who the world said I was. It's who do I declare myself to be, and having the inquiry and conversation of keeping that alive regardless of circumstances. Because the most important time is to be courageous is when you're afraid. The most important time to be strong is when you feel weak, and the most important time is when to love is when you're afraid, and when you're angry. And it's a lot easy. It's so easy. I could tell you how easy it is doing it downhill. I'm riding my bike downhill. It's like, yeah, I'm loving, I'm happy, I'm courageous. But it's when you hit the walls is when it counts and when it's important. And our purpose is declared even when reality says the opposite.